Well, hello and welcome back to the Grey Wolf RV YouTube channel, and you join me on one of the many West Central Alberta side roads for a year in review. Now, I originally envisioned doing this video sitting next to a campfire and leisurely recalling the year that has just gone by, but I was really honestly struggling to come up with a good format to actually keep all my thoughts organized, of which there are many. However, that answer came in the form of an email last week from Winnebago, where they had sent me a customer satisfaction survey, presumably because I've now owned the trailer for just about exactly a year. So we're actually going to be using that survey to help guide me through this video. Now, there is a little bit of a caveat, which is that this is the second time that I've recorded this video, because apparently the last time I woke up and chose violence. I say that jokingly, but what ended up happening is I was following through the survey and I ended up talking a lot more than I should have about how I wish the product would have been designed in certain aspects than a review on what that was. So I'm going to do my best to stay focused this video on simply answering the questions that was put forth to me, and I'm going to make a second video in the future where I'm going to come back and we'll sort of hit on those main points, and I'll go into more detail how I think Winnebago could and should look into, future revisions for the product, because at the end of the day, as a consumer, I just want the best product that there is. And the other thing to note is that if I had to turn around, if Winnebago came and took this off my driveway and I had to make another purchase for an RV, I'd buy another Winnebago Micro Mini FLX. Even knowing what I do, I would still advocate Winnebago for those changes and iterations, but this is what I would buy. So yeah, if I had to do it all over again, I would. So without further stammering, let's make our way through this checklist. So for the majority of these questions, Winnebago has asked me to give a rating 1 through 5, 1 being highly dissatisfied, 5 being highly satisfied, 3 in the middle being neutral. And the first question that they were asking from an ownership experience perspective was the overall drivability and towability. Now, I know watching a lot of other content creators and even like trailer reviewers, when it comes to the Micro Mini products, they're always talking about quarter ton or mid-size SUVs and pickup trucks. And quite frankly, I think this is best towed with a full-size vehicle. The reason for that is when you have a full-size vehicle, you can essentially see straight down the side of the trailer. You don't need big extended tow mirrors, etc. Also, with a full-size vehicle, you just get more space for stuff. And I don't think there's really any advantage on getting a mid-size vehicle from like a fuel economy perspective. It's just smaller for the sake of being smaller. That's my own personal opinion. So the towability behind a half-ton, full-size truck, whatever terminology you want to call it, it's an absolute dream. The torsion independent suspension on road and on gravel like this is awesome. It's very, very comfortable. I have towed and owned and still do own trailers with leaf spring suspension. So, I do speak from a position of experience, and I can say that this trailer, out of all of them, tows the absolute best. In fact, my mom, shout out to her channel, Kathy Goes Camping, she has towed this trailer actually for quite a distance, and she said that a few times she actually forgot it was behind her. And for context, she has an F-150 as well. So, towability, awesome. All right, let's keep moving. So the next section under ownership experience is quality, fit, and finish. And the way that I interpret that question is, what is the quality, fit, and finish of the trailer after 1 year of ownership? So what I'm going to do in this section is take you around the trailer and show you every issue that I am experiencing or that I was previously experiencing that has since been remedied through the warranty process. And for that, we're actually going to start right here. So this is a plastic cap as part of the slide trim molding, and it has been caulked around the outside, except there has been some deformation in the actual plastic, presumably as it's gone through like heat cycling in the sun, and it has allowed a small gap to form where water can potentially penetrate back in. So I am going to be fixing this myself, but I do feel like even though there is a spot only for 3 screws, that arguably speaking, maybe a 4th should have been applied here. It's small, but this is what we're here to talk about, right? All right, moving on. Coming around the side of the trailer, we can actually see 2 spots. So I experienced an issue with the taillights developing condensation inside. To the best of my knowledge, they are sealed units, and that happened on both the right and the left side. I really have no idea why that would have occurred. However, they were both replaced early on in the ownership period through warranty, and I haven't experienced any other issues since. Second is inside of our wonderful bumper here. I, like everybody else, keep their black water management system tubes, etc. I did lose one of the caps. It's just a poor design, quite frankly. I don't want to put that on Winnebago, but I mean, they are the ones speccing those caps. And also, I have experienced rusting inside. This I have not addressed yet. It's only been a recent development, but what I believe I'm going to do is actually just clean out everything as best I can, and then just with a generic black spray paint, come in here and repaint on the inside so that, yeah, just take care of your stuff, right? Okay, moving on. All right, coming forward on the trailer, one problem I experienced very early on was the propane line down under here. One of the self-tapping screws that holds the, call it clamp, I guess, and moreover, the propane line tucked up against the frame, that self-tapping screw had sheared off, which was allowing the propane line to hang quite low, but that was fixed under warranty. At the same time, the taillights were. Something that's been more recent, however, though, is the amount of rust that is showing up on the Dexter Torflex axles. Initially, I thought, well, maybe this is from stones and debris coming up from the tow vehicle, and I'm sure that that hasn't helped. However, if we take a look at the frame next to it as a contrast, we can see that the coating on the frame has stood up much better to the element than the actual axles themselves. It's a purely aesthetic thing, but again, I think when people want to take pride in their products, having rust formation to that extent that early on is, yeah, I'm trying to avoid using the word unacceptable, but don't know what else to say, quite frankly. So again, if we're going to nitpick, we may as well show it everything, right? Show it everything. Now, longtime subscribers of the channel would actually know that I was experiencing problems with the faucet pretty well from day one. And what it was doing was pulsating, which I actually thought was an issue with the water pump, or maybe the way that I de-winterized it. As it turns out, the large weight down here at the bottom actually slid up and caused the hose to kink. And it was that kink that was actually causing the water pressure to pulsate, because the pump had to work against it, and it would break through and then work against it and break through, etc. The parts have been ordered, but for reasons I won't get into in this video right now, they have not been installed as of yet. Also, in the same area, I did experience this panel, I don't want to say failing. What it was the support underneath it was cracked. So they came in and they repaired the broken wood from factory so that this panel would sit and be stable. So this has been fixed, and this is scheduled to be installed, but I would recommend that if you do have a Micro Mini, do as I've done here and move the weight further up the line so it's not sitting at this apex and then causing the hose failure. Again, if it's covered under warranty, sure, but like, why put yourself through that, right? Okay, moving on. Next is this, which is the Truma air conditioner cupboard door situation. And yes, this has been ongoing from the start of my ownership experience and is still ongoing. This has been documented and confirmed and all that from Winnebago. And yes, I didn't expect it to magically repair itself, and I do understand that the air conditioner is fixed in place, but I would have hoped that Winnebago would have come back for its customers and offer some kind of a repair or solution. And then at that point, the customer can decide if they want to pursue it or decline. So yeah, didn't magically fix itself, but it's still here. So yeah, it's on the list. Now, the next one is actually this bathroom door. And if I go ahead and unhook it, what I ended up experiencing was the bathroom door just bowed and warped quite significantly to the point where it couldn't even be accommodated down below. So a replacement door was sent out and installed. The problem was it was installed very poorly. So as you can see here, actually, maybe I'll get out of your way. If I go to open the door, they didn't bother to align it properly. And so the only way to actually open it is if you kind of like rotate the door a little bit and then it'll go. So that's on the dealer. But yeah, that was a problem that I experienced. Escalating slightly more, though, as we know, is the Truma situation. So I've talked about it before and I'll talk about it again. Truma has very specific installation requirements, and those simply were not followed as mine was installed. Nevertheless, I had to remove this panel to actually get the furnace slash heater, whatever you want to call it, to work. And then I was summarily denied for any warranty because I quote unquote tampered with my unit by simply removing the panel, which was causing the problem and again presenting what I felt was a potential fire hazard. So yeah, I have been basically completely dropped from any support on this matter. Not to mention, this is not ducted into the underbelly, which I was told by one Winnebago member. Again, I'm not here to name names. However, yeah, as a consumer pre, post, and a year later, it was a problem and still is a problem, and I don't believe I'm going to get any support. So yeah, that one's a disappointing one. Moving on. Now this one is a new one, and I have not touched it since I've discovered it. But along the edge of this pantry, there was some clear caulking that was installed from Winnebago, from the manufacturer. And since then, I have noticed that there is a, gosh, what would you call this? Like 4mm gap that is more pronounced at this end than this end. This end, actually, everything seems to be in perfect alignment. And I cannot for the life of me remember it being such a big gap. Maybe it was always there and the caulking has just since separated from, you know, natural sort of movement and heat cycles of the product, etc. I don't know, and I don't remember. So if this is kind of movement, that would be odd, but yeah, it could be potentially this cupboard here just sort of twisting or rotating a little bit because it is anchored to the back wall as opposed to the side wall. But you can see the side wall, you know, there is natural movement in here. Bump the TV there, but it's not, yeah, it's perfectly fine up top, and I don't see any other signs of it moving around. So I think this caulking was put there as literal filler, but yeah, you know, we're talking about fit and finish after a year, right? So yeah, if this was a hole, the caulking is simply come off and is, yeah, or I shouldn't say a hole, a gap, and the caulking is removed itself, and yeah, it's more pronounced. So on to the last one. This one's a bit of a gross one. So one issue that I have documented frequently on this channel is condensation and ice formation inside this fridge. And it frustrates me because the fridge came with a misaligned door that was repaired at the same time as the taillights and all the other little things. And I had mentioned specifically about the condensation formation. In fact, I was even speaking to LG, who is the label. I don't believe they're the manufacturer of this product. In fact, I think it's sold under a couple of different labels. But anyways, they had this whole, you know, comprehensive checklist, etc., about like installation recommendations, etc. And, you know, some of that would have necessitated me like removing the whole fridge. But when they found out that I was still under Winnebago's warranty, they're like, yeah, just take it to them. The warranty folks, though, came back saying that yes, the door was misaligned, but that is likely the cause of the condensation and ice formation that I was experiencing. And that's where I had the personal objection, because when I would use the fridge, I would ensure that I would sort of lift and move it in and close it properly. It was not just sitting there with a 1/4 inch gap around it the whole time. And I checked on it the other day, and not only was there condensation formation, but there was mold throughout the fridge. So mold on the shelves, mold on top of containers and jars and all that stuff, and I'm holding my breath so I don't have to breathe it in. My only prevailing theory at this point is that for whatever reason, there's heat being trapped between the back of the fridge and the exterior wall of the trailer that doesn't have proper venting. And so when the compressor kicks on, it's removing heat from inside the fridge and pulling it to the backside, but then that's heating up and then causing the condensation again, because now you've got a greater temperature differential between the cool fridge and the hot back. So that's my theory. I don't have anything to say one way or the other, but yeah, that's kind of gross, and it's a problem that I raised and that I didn't get any support about. So yeah. However, thankfully, that's the end of the list. So let's move on to the next category. So next up is TV, audio, and video performance. And again, this is just going to be purely objective. So how do the speakers in TV work? Well, frankly, not great. The exterior speakers have about the same quality as the interior speakers, which is about the same quality as an elevator. And being that they're affixed quite high up on the actual trailer itself means that if you were just wanting to sit, around the fire, it means that it's broadcasting that sound to everybody around you, your neighbors, etc. All right, so inside, again, objectively, speakers, they are here, they make sound. Sound is played from this thing. That's kind of about all I can tell you. The television, this is bargain basement. It is not a smart enabled television, meaning if you were to get like a Wi-Fi router and plug that in here, you wouldn't be able to download videos onto your Netflix applications and then play that through the television. I think that's a huge miss, because I would put forth, if the majority of people don't already do that, then they're probably going to be doing it. There are HDMI ports on the side of the TV that you can, get adapters from your devices, etc., and plug in. I think the TV's like 720p at best. Yeah, and then the video equipment attached on the roof, so that King Air TV, which is supposed to get you like the free channels in the area. Up here in Canada, we get one channel, and I don't think that that is worth paying the time and money for the equipment and Winnebago to install it, etc. The other sort of pieces of audio video equipment are like the coaxial inputs, that there's 2 on the side. I have spent, I think, a sum total of like 2 or 3 nights in an actual campground with this trailer, and up here in Canada, like cable TV hookups is unheard of. You'd have to go to like a private campground and one where you're basically like parking in a paved parking spot to get anything near those style of hookups up here. It's super uncommon, and it's most especially uncommon in the backcountry. So those connections again on the side, even though the ports are probably like $7 each, and running it in, they have served absolutely no purpose to, my enjoyment of the product. So yeah, that's my objective assessment of the audio and visual TV, quality for the Micro Mini. Moving on. If I can get this to work. There we go. So next up is interior storage. And you may be wondering, Colin, why are you outside? Well, there's a good reason for that. In the effort to prevent this video from being over an hour long, I did say ultimate, I have decided that since there was enough footage, because I was trying to make as informative and comprehensive video as I could, I've actually already released all of that footage as a deep dive series video. However, suffice it to say, interior storage, I'm gonna say 4.5 out of 5. And there's a couple little nitpicky reasons for that. Exterior storage, I would rate that as a 4 out of 5. It's perfectly adequate and fair given the size of the trailer, but I think that there is a creative solution for moving some of the electronics, not the batteries per se, but because you lose so much space on that pass-through storage, it inherently does cut into what is already limited storage to begin with. Again, it's a 20-foot something, 21-foot trailer, so it's not going to be massive, nor am I advocating it for it to be any bigger. I just simply think that there may be something that Winnebago, or say even another brand, could consider doing in the future with underutilized space. There's a pun in there. Let's get back to the ultimate year in review video. All right, next is interior design. And again, 5 out of 5 for this one. Winnebago has honestly just done a lot of things really, really right, in my opinion. The use of, like sort of modern contemporary marble aesthetic on the countertops and in the dinette, the like robin's egg green on the cabinets, it's such a refreshing and fun departure from a lot of just like, white or beige shaker panels. I'm personally a big fan of brushed stainless. I think it looks bright and white. I know the trend right now is like black everything. Personally, I think that looks like the 80s, and black just makes everything feel really small, or like, anyways. I think what they've done in terms of like, color, etc. I really, really hope that black faucet and refrigerator trend disappears quickly, so that if and when the time comes that I get another Winnebago, that it won't have that. So, and as a millennial who prefers a more minimalist aesthetic, the use of complementary grays and beiges with flat front instead of like excess country shaker panel styling on the doors. There's no little excess moldings and cap pieces that sometimes just hide screws. It just feels very light, bright, spacious, calming, minimal, but sort of has a fun, young feeling to it. Yeah, I just think they've done a lot really, really right. Moving on, back outside. So next is exterior shape, color, design, graphics, etc. And longtime subscribers of the channel will know how much I really did not like the graphic on the back, which, as we can see, has disappeared, and the green color that is forced upon you when you get the FLX variant. Well, one I could change, the other graphics I have not and will not be changing. But I do have a specific thought on the shape, which was specifically mentioned in the survey. For that, we need to go to the front of the trailer though. So interestingly, Winnebago did specifically ask about shape. And at the time of purchase, I had absolutely no objections to this fiberglass front cap. And realistically, I shouldn't either. But I've really quite come to like the more squared off profile that you get on like an Ember Overland Series RV. I think that it might be like kind of like a psychological association with, the off-grid, like the Black Series or those single axle, kind of transformer-like trailers that you see a lot of the Overlander guys dragging around. I'm not sure exactly why that is. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe I associate the fiberglass front cap with like park models and camping with partial and full hookups. Or maybe it's the fact that Ember did such a good job designing and incorporating a proprietary propane enclosure and storage cabinet in the front that I feel that might be kind of the way to go. I don't know. But the way that I feel now is I would actually kind of like that. If nothing else, then just have that aesthetic differentiation between sort of the Micro Mini and a more off-road variant thereof. But yeah, that's my thought. That's how I feel. So take for that what it's worth. Anyways, I think the next one is back inside. So let's go do that now. All right, so next up, seating design and comfort. And as you can see, I have opted for the dinette, and I absolutely love this over, say, the fold-out jackknife style sofa. I think that this is the superior option, but do know I am 5'9" or just shy of that, and I am maybe like an inch from touching my head on the roof if I sit, you know, fully upright and erect. So if you're taller, if you're 5'10", 5'11", I'm sure you can get away with it just with, you know, like a more relaxed body posture. If you're in the 6-foot+ crowd though, try it before you buy it, or, you know, really, you know, get ready to be comfortable and relaxed. That said, it is tricky sometimes to spend a bit of time here, especially when the television is behind you. Not that I've ever actually used the television, but I kind of hope to one day if I replace it with a smart TV. There's just not that ability to recline and kind of kick your feet up because the bench is so far away. So I have found myself sitting cross-legged a lot because the alternative is laying in bed, and that's not always kind of the most comfortable, because if you want to sit semi-upright, the way that the roof kind of comes in above you is it doesn't really make that super possible without like a mountain of pillows, which you probably don't want to have. So yeah, the lack of a living space is just inherent with this design, and the trade-off again associated with the dinette versus the sofa. I have absolutely no regrets. I would do this over again. Just understand, you know, what the what the balance, what the trade-off is. So what's next? Kitchen design and usability. All right, cool. Let's check that out. So kitchen design and functionality, and I really only have 3 points of issue that I've learned over the last year of experience. Starting at this end, it is this little table, which I absolutely love. I love having it. The problem is my cutting board barely fits on it, and it's too small to use as like a dish drawing rack. What I would love to see is if it was essentially twice the depth, going essentially all the way to the door. The reason why I suspect they haven't done that is because there is a 110 volt plug right here at the end. So extending it would or could potentially block this. That said, there is the 12 volt and some electronics up in here that 110 could be located up into, and you could simply just draw down, you know, whatever 110 volt accessory cord that you may need, assuming you're not using like battery operated 12 volt appliances as we are. So yeah, this could and should be twice the depth just to make it more usable. Moving down is the sink. Now, Winnebago provides 2 hard plastic black covers for this sink, and the first thing that I did was remove them and stuff them in storage, because in practicality, when you're, you know, cooking and using the sink, etc., you'd be constantly moving those things around. Yeah, the lack or the 2-piece fixed sink cover, no bueno. And then third and final is the lack of a vent, cooking vent. Not only is that not consistent with building codes, but the roof vents that Winnebago's installed with those like little 6-inch computer fans, as I've said before in the past, I know they mean well, and I'm sure they're trying their hardest, but they're just generally ineffective. And even if you were to open this window, if there's any kind of cross breeze coming in, it's just going to blow all that moisture and carbon monoxide right back into the trailer. And I believe the reason why we don't see a fan incorporated into the over-the-range microwave here is because I think that there needs to be a minimum clearance on the exterior wall for that like flapper valve to sit. And with the window going as high as it does, I don't think there's sufficient room for that. I could be wrong, but I suspect that's the case. So, no, I said I won't provide solutions in this video. Sorry. All right, that's the end of this section then. Moving on. All right. So next up is bedroom design and comfort. And for the simple reason that this only came with an RV queen, but perfectly fits a true queen, it's definitely losing a few points in my mind. It is an easy solution though. I did a video that sort of addressed this, but I'm probably going to end up re-releasing it because the mattress that I was promoting no longer exists. So whoops on my part, I guess. But yeah, maybe I should have gone into more detail about the process of putting a true queen in here. Anyways, the things that I don't like beyond this, there is no reading lights. That's super annoying because I do like to read, especially when I'm camping. The way that they've done these wardrobes is you have that open storage shelf space, which is on the same level as the mattress, and it makes for a pretty tight gap. And remember, this is only like a 7-inch mattress. So if you've gone out and got 8, 10, whatever, you're not fitting anything in there, or at least accessing it that way. You got to come in from the end. So there are a lot of different configurations that other manufacturers are doing with their wardrobe slash end table space. And I think that Winnebago should really consider that in future iterations, because it just makes it awkward to kind of like fish drinks out or whatever. Is it unusable? No, not at all, not whatsoever. And my last criticism actually has to do with the lighting, but I will address that in the lighting section of this review. So aside from that, yeah, it's good, works. So next is fit and finish of cabinetry, and I couldn't do this video without addressing the elephant in the room, which is this door hitting this air conditioner. So yeah, this was not cool. And we'll talk about some other doors over here. All right, so I've moved back toward the pantry, and you may be able to see there is actually damage that has occurred here. The doors were never really set up properly, and so the actual metal makes physical contact with the wood and has kind of caused some scraping. So that I feel should have been addressed right out of the factory and wasn't. If you do end up purchasing a Winnebago, make sure you get the dealer that you're purchasing from to address this specifically, because in my experience trying to go through other dealerships is that quality of workmanship has been hit and miss, and dealing with those dealerships has been an overall pretty negative experience. Yeah, that part, not great. So next up we have lighting, and I'm actually going to start here in this panel because the second switch from the right is for this entrance light, but these switches are not backlit, nor are the labels. So when you're coming into the trailer and you're fumbling around, you can't actually figure out which one of these the switch is, which is ironic because every other light in the trailer is push button. So where you kind of want a push button, it's not. And where you want nice centralized switching for, you know, the dining or the living or the bedroom, well, they're actually all push button, which means as you're laying in bed, not only are these not suitable for actual reading lights above you, but you need to like throw off the covers, especially if it's cool inside the trailer, and, you know, reach up or, you know, do your best to stretch up and turn them off on the roof. But also, I've positioned you where you are specifically because, as you'll probably see, you right now are, if you were sitting up with like a couple of pillows behind your bed, or behind your back, sorry, in bed. And you'll probably notice that every single light in this trailer is visible from your perspective. So if you are sitting there and you want to watch a movie, right? You're maybe the weather's not suitable for a fire, or you just want to catch up on the latest episode of your favorite show. Well, any of these lights that you have on is behind the screen that you're trying to watch, and it's like super distracting, and you know, it just ruins the sort of the whole experience. So all of these lights are not on dimmers, and there is no accessory lighting sort of like down in the floor that is indirect to your eyes. What I have actually resorted to doing is pulling this shade over and leaving like the dinette light on. So in that way, if I want to get up and navigate to the bathroom or something like that, I can do that without stubbing my toe or knocking over a glass or something like that. But yeah, this trailer desperately needs some accent lighting, but I guess, again, I'm dipping my toe into that future recommendation. So let's just say lighting, poor score. It's sufficient. All the lights that they have in the trailer, they're a nice color temperature, etc. But yeah, that sitting and watching a movie, that's when they become problematic. So hopefully I managed to maintain objective in this section. Oh, it's so difficult. I so want to start offering, you know, solutions, but yeah, that's not it's not this video. So, all right, what else we have? Bathroom design and usability. It's a nightmare to film in there, so I'm just gonna save it by saying it's great. I like it. I love it. Make sure you get yourself a floor mat that will fit in that area. Yeah, no complaints. Really good. All right, cool. What else we have? Ooh, this one's a hot topic in that it's a cold topic. Cold weather usage. All right, I gotta sit down for this one because I'm pretty sure in the last time I attempted to film this video, I got pretty ranty. And I'm gonna do my best to keep things calm and measured, but cold weather performance, oh, how do you answer this? The Truma VarioHeat is an excellent heater. It is quiet, it's powerful, it's efficient, it's all the things. And it does a really wonderful job of heating up this trailer. There's one outlet from the heater, as we know, that comes into this area of the trailer. So from here over to the sleeping is perfectly fine. In fact, it's actually kind of nice to have your sleeping area maybe just a degree or two cooler, not even 2 degrees, probably half a degree from the heater over here. But I have experienced the bathroom being a definitive cold zone despite being immediately adjacent to the heater. And I suspect that is because of the cupboards against the exterior walls becoming quite cold in them inside themselves and underneath that cabinet. So again, solutions for another video, but the bathroom gets cold. The reason why I'm sort of stumbling over my words right now is because the elephant in the room is that it's not a heated, ducted underbelly. So you pay more money to get the better appliance, and then the way that Winnebago implements that, it actually sacrifices or lowers the cold weather performance. There's no way around that. That's just the truth. The Truma VarioHeat is excellent and it's very capable. It's just, if you're in minus 12 Celsius or whatever, like, you know, what we've been having up in this area recently, yeah, you know, there's a real risk of your lines freezing and breaking, and that's not good. Getting off that topic, because I really am quite, from a consumer's perspective, not happy, let's say. We talk about windows, right? I'm fine with the standard Micro Mini having these single pane windows, but Truma as a company knows that dual pane acrylic windows are superior in just about every way to single pane. Single pane windows, from a thermal perspective in cold weather, they're not great. They're, you know, you can get significant improvement by closing the blind, because then that acts as a secondary pane, so to speak. But this trailer really, for the price point, when you consider competition, namely the Ember Overland series, should have had dual pane windows. All right, what else we got? I got to get off this topic. Hot weather usage. Oh God. All right, hot weather usage. Well, when you're boondocking off-grid, not good. So I spent 20 days off-grid this summer. The first like 8 of them was during heat wave with 33 to 36 degrees Celsius days on average. And the single battery in this trailer is grossly insufficient if you are wanting to run the air conditioner. There's just not enough battery capacity. The Truma Aventa Eco air conditioner is amongst the quietest and I believe the most efficient that I've been able to find, even considering some of the newer options by other brands. So I have no personal objection or problem with it. Beyond that, all the windows open up for nice cross ventilation. You've got the dual roof vents, which on hot nights I've left open as passive cooling. So yeah, hot weather is good. Just take the air conditioner out of the equation. This next category was off-grid. Now, arguably speaking, this is kind of what everybody wants to know, I think, when it comes to the FLX package. How good is it off-grid? Now, I can't speak, and I don't speak for Winnebago. I don't know what their design goals and objectives were. I can only speak to how it was presented to me at the dealer and from Winnebago at like the corporate level as a potential consumer when I was doing my own research and in my shopping process. And the one big thing that was presented to me is actually the one thing that the trailer did not live up to at all. And that is simply the air conditioner. So I was speaking to Winnebago, and the person I was talking to said, oh yeah, you know, we've had one of the FLX units running all day. It's like 7 hours with the air conditioner and it's going great. I thought, oh wow, that's really good. Because while I don't have a dog right now, should I get another dog in the future or someone with a dog come camping with me, if I'm going mountain biking, I may not want to bring the dog with me for lots of different reasons. So for me, it was important to have the peace and comfort of knowing that should I want or need or be going out on a couple-hour mountain bike journey, trip, or grocery shopping, or whatever that looks like, that I could leave Fido here and that they were safe. The problem was, as it turned out, that the air conditioner consumed about 1% per minute of battery. And you're not starting each morning at 100% battery. You're starting at best case scenario at 80 because you've consumed energy either using the refrigerator and or the heater or other appliances, etc. inside the trailer the previous night. So yeah, it's at 1% per minute. That's no bueno. I think the most important, influential, best feature, etc. when it came to this trailer's off-grid performance was the Truma Aqua Comfort Plus. I didn't even know it had it. I don't think Winnebago really advertised it. Again, mine was ordered in June, I think, of 23 and delivered that November. And so it showed up and I was like, oh no, what happened to the shower miser? And then they said, well, it's Comfort Plus. Oh, okay, it's this new system. It honestly really took using it to realize the brilliance of it, because it's hot water on demand and you're not sending hot water back into the fresh water tank that you would normally with a shower miser system, but it's going back into the hot water, which actually makes it even more efficient of a system, because now you're just sort of heating up hot water. So if I know I'm going to go take a shower or whatever, I turn it on. By the time I'm jumping in the shower, I have hot water at the ready. And that's like just absolutely brilliant. Like, it works so well, but especially from an off-grid performance where water conservation is key. I'll jump ahead a little bit because on water, the fresh water tank is too small. I'm just going to say it. I think it's 39 gallons. It's not enough. When I was camping this summer, I did 20 days off-grid and I topped up the water tank repeatedly. I know the joke is you'll run out of water before you run out of anything else. Well, I ran out of water, in my opinion, far too quickly. And I'm a single guy. I don't know how it would have been if you had 2 people, plus a dog you're rinsing off, plus maybe a small child. Like, it's just, you're going to burn through it way too fast. That's something Winnebago, I think, really needs to address moving forward in the future. Gray water tank, I call it acceptable because if I had to choose between a larger freshwater and a larger gray water, I'm choosing the larger freshwater. My general conclusion for off-grid performance, I gave it a 3 out of 5. It's right down the middle. It's fair. It's adequate. You can do everything. You can use the product. Basically, just forget that it has an air conditioner and you'll be happy. That's maybe the best advice I can give you. So, yeah, moving on. All right, well, as the sun sets behind the camera, I thought I'd come out and wrap this up outside, talking about the battery capacity and charging. And here's the honest to gosh truth. As I've mentioned already throughout the video, the current battery capacity size is sufficient for like 4 days off-grid minus the air conditioner. The 400 watts of solar is not enough. It needs to be minimum 600, 7 if you're lucky, but there is inherently a limited roof space. Come in with low expectations for 400 watts and just sort of hope for the best, because you'll never actually see 400 watts. The best I've seen, I think, was like 320, so like roughly, what would that be, about 70, 75% solar panel efficiency. If you have the money, get a second Lithionics battery straight from Winnebago. That way you don't have to worry about installation or warranty concerns or anything like that. Just like in electric vehicles where they've got that range anxiety, you would deeply offset any sort of like battery capacity anxiety. So generally speaking, I would give it a rating of fair. Am I highly critical? Sure, do I really want the ability for this trailer to run all systems go 100% for like 10 to 20 days? Yeah, you betcha, that's what I want. Are there ways to achieve that? Absolutely. But as far as what the product is now, I would give the trailer an overall rating of fair. Do I still believe that it's the best in its category? Yeah, because simply there's no other 7-foot wide trailers that deliver this combination of design, storage, aesthetics, usability for, both as a means to an end and it ends within itself. Will I still continue to be highly opinionated and advocate for Winnebago or any other brand to make a competing product or this product better? You betcha. The question remains right now is, do I use this trailer, the 2024 variant, as the foundations to do that big build out where I'm adding and modifying and pulling things apart? Or do I do that on a future trailer? And right now, honestly, I don't know the answer to that question. So with that, I say thank you for watching. And as always, I sincerely do appreciate it. For more content like this, tech videos and trip videos, please consider subscribing. That would mean the absolute world to me at this stage. In the meanwhile, thank you very much. You take care, and bye for now.